Hey folks, welcome back to another HP Gaming GameLINK video. We have something special for you today. We're mixing things up a bit, doing things a little bit differently. Welcome to Gotcha Backer Season 2. Yes, folks, welcome back. For those of you who don't know me, and you should by now, my name is Matt, and we're here to talk all things crowdfunding for our web series, Gotcha Backer. This is episode 1 of season 2, which is fantastic, for June 2021. Who'd have thought a year ago we would have been 12 episodes deep? Thank you very much for sticking with it. If you have been joining us on this crowdfunding journey, we are doing things, as I said at the outset, a little bit differently, rather than talking about something. Rather than talking about project updates and freshly backed updates, which is something we've done in the past, which we used the Kickstarter logos for, obviously things have evolved since then, and we've been doing things on GameFound and other crowdfunding platforms as well, I should say, excuse me. So we are doing things a little bit differently. We're going to talk about what we backed back then, what we're backing now, and what we're backing beyond. Ooh, that sounds a bit exciting, doesn't it? So yeah, got a few things to discuss today, along with a wealth of exciting gaming news in the Beyond section, so stick around for that. First things first, new arrivals, things that have arrived recently. I can't remember if I've already shown you this one. I know I haven't shown you this one. Lost in Jurassica, which is the latest one from Sam Milham and Great Games. That has arrived. Looking forward to getting that one to the table. And then, of course, this big fella here, Who Goes There, second edition, has arrived, and I cannot wait to get into this sucker. For those of you not familiar with the series so far, this one here is a play on John Carpenter's The Thing. It's based on the book of the novel of the original 1936 novel, Who Goes There. Very excited for that one. There is another arrival that I want to talk about a little bit later on, but we'll get into the thick of it now. First of all, with some project updates, or what we're talking about projects we backed then. So the first project we're going to talk about from back then is, of course, Tiny Epic Dungeons. Now this one we have received recently the print and play files for. Very excited to start getting into the thick of it. I haven't ever printed off a Tiny Epic game, only because there are just so many components. It's not like something like Canvas, which we've obviously discussed previously on this channel and has arrived now, where you can print a deck of cards and go for it. There's so many different components to Tiny Epic Dungeons that it would just take forever, and I wouldn't be able to do it justice. So we haven't printed the files yet. However, Tiny Epic Dungeons is shaping up to be living up to the hype and the expectations. I'm super pumped to see what happens when it finally hits the table. Tiny Epic series in general is always a great time. If you see a Tiny Epic game on the shelf, you know it's going to be worth a look. The most recent one, Tiny Epic Dinosaurs, absolutely fantastic and hits the table on a regular basis and sells really well as well, which is even better for us. But Tiny Epic Dungeons at this stage, they haven't been impacted by any shipping delays caused by coronavirus and everything else as well. So hopefully we'll be able to see those start shipping on schedule. But obviously we'll have to wait and see, fingers crossed, as we move forward. And now an update on something that we backed, well, I think it's fitting because we talked about this in our very first Gotcha Backer back in June of 2020, in the midst of lockdown and everything else as well. There were some major shipping delays. We actually got a shipping notification for this one. In one of our previous Gotcha Backer episodes, we talked about Psycho Chickens actually being on the water on the way here. However, due to customs and craziness and shipping containers and everything else in quarantine, for whatever reason it never arrived, and we were back and forth with the creator Martin at Psycho Chicken's game, Neon Chicken Games, and they've said for whatever reason packages have been lost, and in order to fulfill the outstanding backers, have actually had to dip into their own pockets, which unfortunately, by all reports, and the rumor is, nearly ran the company into bankruptcy, which is very unfortunate. And you know, our thoughts and prayers and hearts and thoughts go out to Neon Chicken and the uphill battle they've faced. However, they have been in touch and they have sort of slated for all the packages to be shipped late 2021, potentially as early as mid-July, once sort of shipping has sort of returned to some semblance of normality. Unfortunately, the reality of the situation is trying to get a shipping container from anywhere in the world at the moment. They're up 400% on what they were recently, so it's a really hard time for game creators, and you'll see that across projects across the board, that shipping is taking its toll on these companies. So some suppliers and some project developers are actually holding back shipping, which is causing delays, but at the same time I think those of us in the gaming industry can understand and appreciate that. When shipping containers or companies are asking for 400% of their normal price, it's a bit of a tough bit of pill to swallow. If we get it in July, great. We look forward to bringing an unboxing of that one. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can help them get this over the line. That's the update and the latest on what is a wonderful, hopefully crazy game, Psycho Chickens. Okay, so this one talking about bitter pills to swallow. This is an update on the Terraforming Mars card game Ares Expedition. Now this one is apparently already on the water and is shipping to hubs around the world and hopefully making its way to us, which is fantastic. We have the option of putting it up as a pre-order on our store, so if you would like to get a copy of Ares Expedition and you think it's something you'd be interested in, please let us know in the comments below or hit us up at the website orders@hpgaming.com.au via email. If you're interested, we'll pop it on the store, otherwise we'll see how we go. A bit of pill to swallow in that in the US in particular, Target, which is a chain obviously here in Australia as well, have received a mass market production copy of Ares Expedition before the Kickstarter backers. It's available for retail in their stores as we speak. Now, for us as a Kickstarter backer, as a crowdfunding backer in general, the reason we go in on these games is to get copies before they become available in the retail. So to hear that in the US you can walk into a Target or a Walmart and grab a copy off the shelf, it's not very pleasant experience when you've paid potentially a bit of for a premium copy of a game when you could have paid half the cost in retail and gone down to your local and picked one up. It's not ideal, and since then, the company behind Terraforming Mars, they've basically said, look, we're sorry, we apologise. They would have had a deadline to meet with their partners in Target, and Target being a mass corporation, obviously, if they hadn't come to the table, that would have been in violation of their agreement. So I can understand that business side of it, but for those backers who don't have a business mindset like myself, ooh, nasty business, and it's obviously going to cause a lot of backers to think twice before they bring their next campaign to the table. Having said that, Ares Expedition does look like it's going to be fantastic. It's on its way here, so I'm super pumped for that, and I'm looking forward to getting that to the table when it arrives. Okay, big news now. We're nearly there with our project updates. This one I'm talking about now is from Horrible Guild, and it is, of course, Dungeon Fighter. Now, for those of you who've been following along in the series, and if you haven't, why not? Dungeon Fighter have brought out a second edition, or Horrible Guild have brought out a second edition of Dungeon Fighter. And this is 4 different core boxes, all with a different theme. And me being me, I've gone all in because I just love the idea of dexterity. Yes, my dice throwing is rubbish. Those of you who watch the channel will know that. But the idea behind getting an all-in box where you can have 4 different flavors of dungeons to crawl through, throw dice, unique tools, throwing dice with chopsticks, throwing dice off your nose, all that sort of crazy antics as well. It's just going to be a good time sitting around the table, sinking some beers and doing some crazy stuff. It's like beer pong, but on an epic scale, for those of you who don't know what Dungeon Fighter is. The big news for Dungeon Fighter fans, though, if you backed Dungeon Fighter at this Kickstarter campaign way back whenever it was, October or something, or even earlier last year, because of the delay and because of the craziness that's been going on, and because of the fact that some of these games are a bit more heavy in terms of their learning curve, Horrible Guild have announced that every backer for this edition of Dungeon Fighter, whether you got 1 box or whether you got big box or whatever the case may be, will be getting a special pre-release retail version of a standard edition of Dungeon Fighter 2nd Edition completely for free. That's amazing. So we've got a big box war chest of Dungeon Fighter with all the 4 boxes in it. They're throwing in an extra box of contents inside that chest just because they can. And I think that's bloody amazing, and a bit of a kudos and a thanks to these guys for obviously, going that extra mile for their backers, particularly in such uncertain times. It's unprecedented to get a complete standalone game in addition to the games you ordered at no cost. That's some serious dollars they're giving back to their backers. It's very, very exciting. It is possible as well to obviously order additional copies of that one. So if you don't want to go in big box, if you don't want to know, if you can't decide which of the 4 flavors you like, or you've not experienced Dungeon Fighter before, you can get in on our pledge and order with just one single copy of those ones if you would like to. You must be a Patreon backer to enable that. So if you're not a Patreon subscriber, please jump on board the Patreon page. Link will be in the description below and also at the video at the end. And you can get on board and order copies if you wish. And if you're within Australia, that's free shipping, which is also awesome. There is, however, I think Dungeon Fighter, it's going to give you, I don't know, I like the feel of Dungeon Fighter. I like the way this is going to work. And having this extra game, it's amazing. It's fantastic news. And again, a really good way for Horrible Guild to support their backers, which is fantastic. Okay, the last project I would like to update you on is something that is very close to my heart. And for those of you that have been following along with the saga that is this particular game, you'll know that we've had quite a bit to say about it. I am thrilled to announce now, at the time, just before we started recording this, when I was putting together the bit of a script of a guide of what we were going to do, I had originally intended to update you on this game because I'd received a shipping notification. Craziness. However, I don't know how, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I am able to show you that we have received our copy of Unbroken. Huzzah! It's finally arrived. I don't know how it happened. RTM, if you're watching this, thank you so much. I'm getting forward to opening this one up and taking a look. I will be doing an unboxing for this one. For those of you within Australia who have not yet received your copy, this is proof that, the end is nigh. I backed this, I think this was funded in 2018 and it's now 2021. So it's taken a good while to get here. And I'd almost forgotten about it except for the updates on Board Game Geek and things like that as well. But Unbroken has arrived. It's here in my hands. It feels quite heavy for such a small box. I'm excited to break it out and see what all the fuss is about. I do feel for Artyom, the game's creator. I do hope he does continue to create content because from all reports, the game is solid. Having not played it yet, I'm obviously still on the fence about that. But I know there are a lot of backers out there who will be very, very reluctant to support the other name that is on that box, which is these guys. And of course, they've since been kicked off of the crowdfunding platform we know and love, Kickstarter. But funnily enough, they've started their own. I don't know how it's going. I haven't checked. I have no desire to. But there it is. That's all the project updates we have for you. And now it's time to talk about what we've been backing now. Okay, so the first game I want to talk about that we're backing now is a game that is Australian based, and I'm a big supporter of Australian projects. Just have a look at Big Bang Burgers and a few other bits and pieces we've done, Lost in Jurassic and that sort of stuff. Now this one is a game that needs your love and needs your support, so we are changing things up a little bit. And if you're a Patreon supporter, you will see this video before everyone else, but you won't see it a good month in advance because we need to get the word out for this game. This game is called Zaka, and it is a competitive card game where you're trying to build an army of cards to battle your foes and have obviously the strongest army at the end of the game. It is a take that style game, lots of crazy action. The art on the cards is great as well. It's definitely worth a look. Now, if you're watching this from the other parts of the world, I highly suggest you have a look at the Kickstarter campaign for this one. Short playtime, 20 minutes. It's one of those filler games you can get a good couple of rounds in nice and quickly. And it looks fantastic. The art's solid, as I said. A lot of take that action, which I'm down for. I love games like Exploding Kittens, simple, short, nasty, to the point. And I think it's one of those games you've got to, as I said, play in between larger games. Fantastic. That's Zaka. Check it out on Kickstarter. Looks amazing. All right, the next game I want to talk about now is something a little bit paranormal, and I'm talking about a game called Skeptics. Now, this is a cooperative game in which you are paranormal investigators exploring an old asylum or an old museum, trying to prove the existence of ghosts. Now, this is a game that is a little pandemic in its co-op experience, except you're not spreading viruses around. You've got to make your way around the map, decipher the clues, and obviously prove the existence of a ghost by completing certain challenges. It is a die roller, which, you know, if anyone's playing on my team when we play this game, we're in for a difficult time because my dice rolling is absolutely shice. But Skeptics, this is a relaunch campaign. They actually tried to fund this one not too long ago, and for whatever reason it didn't make the goal target. This time though, they are well and truly funded, and there is still time to get in on this campaign. There's a gameplay video to show you exactly how it sort of works. So as you move through, you get a certain number of actions, 4 actions I think it is, and you make your way through the asylum in this case, trying to unlock doors, trying to decipher clues, roll for challenges a la Elder Sign. And then obviously prove the existence of ghosts. Now, if you can, you'll actually have the opportunity to summon the ghost outside of your turn. Every time the clock strikes 12, the ghost will appear in a room, but it will only appear in each room once. So if you use that to your advantage, you can see which rooms the ghost appeared in, and you'll know whereabouts it's going to appear. Otherwise, you do have the ability, once you unlock certain tasks and items, to summon the ghost outside of the ghost hour. And obviously then you can try and decipher the clues and prove the existence of this paranormal activity. Looks solid. The production copies that I've seen look really fantastic. I'm looking forward to getting Skeptics to the table because it is a game you can play solo as well, which I love. Check it out. Skeptics is on Kickstarter right now. Moving on now to something a little bit more environmentally friendly, I'm talking about a game called Forests of Pangaea. Now this is an engine builder worker placement style game in which you are spirits of the forest, and you are, it's a tile sort of hex map. You're moving around the map, planting seeds, growing trees, and ultimately trying to grow the most amazing forest to complete the ritual that the ritual of life, I guess, for lack of a better term. Now, the reason that I've looked at this game and the reason I thought I would back it is because the components look incredible, and they have been designed with environmentally friendly components in mind. The fact that you can start off with a seed and then build a small tree and then build upon that to get your tree 3 levels high. The table presence for this game is amazing. It looks fantastic. The fact that they've covered the 4 seasons effectively in their player components for the 4-player game, green, sort of a yellowy autumn color, rustic colors as well. It looks amazing, and I think even if you, the symbology behind the different pieces and the instructions, it doesn't require a lot of reading. It's basically just you see the symbol. It's a great user interface in that respect. Forests of Pangaea looks like a really good time, and it's something that you can play through in about 40 minutes. So it'll be one of those games where you play through, you finish the game and go, oh, come on, let's go again, just one more, just one more. The fact that it looks amazing on the table and it has rich wooden components as well, and not just little standees a la photosynthesis, I think, I don't know, it just adds something else to, you know, those of you who watch the channel know I'm a tactile gamer. I love things I can pick up and hold. So having that on the table and being able to build, I'll just be wanting to build the trees. I won't even care about the points. I just want to have the most impressive forest on the table. Ultimately, once your trees die, they plant more seeds and things. It's just really, really sound. The gameplay mechanics look really, really great. And I think that engine building of growing trees, recycling everything, and recycling that cycle of life, I guess, is about what the core game is about. And I think as well, it's designed to be, as I said, recyclable components. So it's a bit more, you know, friendly for the environment, which is fantastic too. Definitely worth a look. Currently on Kickstarter, about halfway through their campaign. So get on board and get your copy of Forests of Pangaea. Okay, so this one is a little bit quirky, and I kind of like it that way. This one is one I came across. I hadn't played the first game. Very excited to see what this one does. I'm a big fan of legacy style games, Pandemic, Legacy, Clank Legacy, all that sort of stuff. This is a game called Valor and Villainy, Ludwig's Labyrinth. Now it's a follow-up to Minions of Mordak, which was the first game in the series. And this is a legacy style game for 1 to 6 players. It's sort of a worker placement, leveling up, deck building mechanic, I think. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, it'll be on the screen. And it's got minis, and it's got lots of humor, content, crazy stuff going on, spells, secret envelopes, secret clues, leveling up abilities, and ultimately you'll have a way of, when you're finished, you'll have your own unique footprint on a game. But this legacy game has the feature of being able to be resettable. What that means is you can wipe the board clear of all the upgrades you've got, and start again from scratch with a campaign. And that is awesome, which means you can play the game out with one group of friends, then piss them off if you want to. Bring in your next group of friends and play a completely different campaign with different choices and different options available to you. And that's fantastic. I really like the fact that, yes, it's a campaign game, but a replayable campaign game. That's awesome. And they've got on board with game trays as well to sort of capture all the essence of all the different components and make a unique storage solution specifically for this game as well, so you know it's going to look amazing. Valor and Villainy looks really fantastic. Currently live on Kickstarter. They've only just recently started their campaign, so you can still get in and get in all the rewards. I believe one of the tiers includes the original game as well, so you can actually use the two. They are compatible in some respects. New heroes, new cards, new everything. But again, it's that humor element, that craziness when you look, it's beers and tacos, as someone else has said. Alex from Board Game Co said that. So it looks like a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing that when it arrives down the track. Hopefully, as things start to ease up with terms of shipping, these projects will come to life a lot faster. But who knows? We'll see how we go. That's Valor and Villainy, Ludwig's Labyrinth. All right, last one I want to talk about for our now section is one of the big ones, and this is Six Siege, the board game based on Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. This is a side versus side 1v1, but also 2 to 4 player game where you can have one side causing the assault and one side defending, and it's a bit of a capture the flag skirmish sort of experience. The best part about this is though that the board is set up, the pieces are ready on both sides of the field, but the scenery and extra bits and pieces that are in the board, so tables, chairs, walls, they're all destructible. So you can literally set up if you're the defender, set up the board to your advantage, work out different obstacles and things that the other players are going to have to work their way around. But if you're on the attacking side, you don't just lie in wait with the defenders. The attacking side, you can position your troops all the way around the outside of the board and then blow a hole in the wall. And I mean literally blow a hole in the wall to breach. There's little breach components that you can set on the board. There's destructible furniture. There's all sorts of crazy stuff. You can do upgrades and get like physical 3D printed furniture that's destructible, 3D printed walls and lots of stuff if you really need all that cosmetic stuff, which I do. Rainbow, or Six Siege I should say, looks epic. The content for the all-in is just ridiculous. There is so much stuff for this game. But I think the gameplay mechanics of that skirmish mode, it's almost a little bit of a smaller version of Gotham City Chronicles, and you get 2 maps in the original, in the core box. You can upgrade that to have another 4 maps that you can play on or something like that. Ridiculous. Just lots of content for this game. The mechanics are pretty straightforward. You use cards, there's combat dice, all that sort of stuff you'd expect from a nice big production. And from what I understand, in terms of a board game adaptation of a video game, it's one of the better ones we've seen. I think the production quality so far, that the sculpts look great on the minis, the identification markers, blue and orange, look pretty straightforward, and it's like a training simulation, I guess, of you being able to breach these different rooms or defend the rooms from those doing the breaching. So pick a side, arm yourselves, pick your squad, and go all in. They are currently on Kickstarter, about 3/4 of the way through their campaign, so get on board if you haven't already. It looks absolutely amazing, and that's Six Siege. And that brings us to the end of what's happening now on Kickstarter. We've got a few other things that we want to talk about, because we're not just doing then and now. Usually this is where I go into the wrap up, but this time for the season 2, we're going beyond. Okay, so in our Beyond section, I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming soon to Kickstarter to word you up on what you might want to be jumping in on or not jumping in on, as the case may be. So the first one I want to talk about is a game that is close to my heart because the 13-year-old within me giggles all the time whenever I look at the content for this game. This is an expansion / standalone sequel to Epic Spell Wars of the Battle Wizards Annihilageddon. And this is Annihilageddon 2 Extreme Nacho Legends. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Epic Spell Wars, it is crazy 80s mega death metal artwork, crazy cartoons, lots of chaos, and a lot of take that action, and I mean take that in an epic fashion. Your goal is to eliminate as many players as possible. This is a deck builder, so you can die, but then come straight back in on the next turn and smash the crap out of the person who killed you, because you can. It's awesome. The art's disgusting. It's very profane. If you look at the YouTube channel, you see an unboxing for the original Annihilageddon. It's not safe for kids, not safe for work at all. There's swearing, there's violence. It's a bloody disgusting time, and I love it. At the time of this recording, this is about to launch on Kickstarter, so if you haven't already jumped on board, you will be able to jump on board the Epic Spell Wars train. This is a deck builder version of the Epic Spell Wars card and dice game that was around about 10 years ago. It first came out, and there's about 4 different versions of that. This is the deck building variant of those. The heroes, or wizards I should say, that are included in Annihilageddon and Annihilageddon 2 are backwards compatible with the Epic Spell Wars card game, so you can use those in there as well. There's familiars, there's deck building. Now this is by, I should say as well, this is going to be done by Cryptozoic, so we'll have the same Cryptozoic backs as DC deck building game and all those iterations. I think, I don't know, knowing how well the first one's played, knowing that I have very few people to play it with because it's not suitable for Charlotte and Blair, this is going to be one that I'll get out when all the mates are around, and we'll get some beers and we'll go from there. It's going to be fantastic. As I said, it's not live yet. It will be very soon. By the time this goes live on YouTube, the campaign may have already started because it is very close, but it's definitely worth a look. And there's also the expansion, Gangbangers expansion as well, which will be available exclusively on Kickstarter. So check it out. Epic Spell Wars, Annihilageddon 2, Extreme Nacho Legends, and Gangbangers. I'm going to be all in. Check it out. Okay, next one I want to talk about. It's not the biggest one that I'm going to talk about in terms of the but it is one that's very close to my heart because, as you know, those of you who are long-time watchers will know that we have doing a little bit of a game grab every now and again, and we got noticed by our friends Megacorp and Games, and their new game, I should say, that uses their brilliant deck system, Scandalo, which you may or may not see up here, is coming to Kickstarter. Now this here is a prototype copy. We've unboxed this one. It may already be live on the channel. I don't know yet. This one here is a brilliant deck system deduction game where it's not a social deduction game, where you'll be trying to discover which celebrity here is embroiled in the scandal, what the scandal is, and which of the papers or newspapers will publish your tabloid juicy goodness. It plays really well. This is not a review, obviously that'll be coming in the coming weeks. If you've played Awkward Guests, which is the precursor to this game, you'll know that was incredibly well funded on Kickstarter. This one, Scandalo, is coming to Kickstarter at this stage in September, and there is a pre-launch page which I'll put in the description below for you so you can follow along, get notified when this goes live. If you like deduction games a la Clue and you find that too easy and you want a challenge, this is something you want to get in on. It's going to be amazing. The pre-production copy of this prototype copy is fantastic and is fully playable. We've had a couple of games. I haven't won one yet. But look, I think this is something that if you like deduction games and, as I said, you want that challenge, get in on it. Scandalo coming to Kickstarter in September. Check it out. And finally, big news that people have all been waiting for. CMON, Come On, Cool Mini or Not, whatever you want to call them, their newest Kickstarter campaign will launch in September, and it is Masters of the Universe Clash for Eternia, the board game, and this is going to be huge. And the mini sculpts so far that we've seen for this game, it looks fantastic. This is again another skirmish style game where you'll have one versus the many. I think it could be 1v1, a la, again, Batman Gotham City Chronicles, or similar to Six Siege that we talked about earlier. You can choose either the light or the dark, have Skeletor and his minions, He-Man and his heroes, and just go head to head. I think the idea behind this one is that the core box, as I understand it, has about 35 miniatures in it. And when you say core box and it's a CMON campaign, you can know there's going to be a ton of other stuff. I mean, look at Undead or Alive, the Zombicide game, standalone game in previous updates to understand what I'm talking about. The core box, if you're interested in backing this project when it comes live in Kickstarter in September, be prepared to spend a small fortune. If you want to go all in, it's going to be, we're talking like $300 US. Simple as that. The core box has, I think, the 35 miniatures in it. There's also minions that you can control with the heroes. What's unique about this, though, instead of having just the heroes with their loadouts going at it head to head, you can actually level up the heroes to give them better and more stronger abilities, and you can build them in a play style that suits the way you want to play, which I think is really awesome. The mini sculpts, it's CMON, they're amazing. They're going to be fantastic. The ones I've seen, Orko, He-Man, Men-at-Arms, Teela, Skeletor, he looks amazing as well as he would. Beastman looks fantastic. Trapjaw is one of my favorites. He looks really, really good. He's got his laser gun attachment. You can mix and match the builds to suit the different attachments that he can put on his arms. Brilliant stuff. And it's a throwback to the absolute classic line of toys from the 80s, which I think is a really nice homage. And I know a lot of people who are fans will just absolutely love it. That's not Battle for Eternia. That's a game from age gone by that I don't know if I still have somewhere, but I'll have to dig it out because that was awesome fun. Masters of the Universe, the board game Clash for Eternia, is going to be absolutely epic. I will be there day one, depending on how we go funds wise, because it's going to have to put all our pennies away and save up some dollars for that one. It's going to be huge. But that's everything we're going to talk about beyond for this month. And now we're here at the wrap up again, something familiar to finish off with. There you go. I know that was epic. There's lots of announcements and things to talk about. If there's anything in terms of beyond, in terms of Kickstarters that you know that are coming out that we didn't mention that we should take a look at, by all means pop them in the comments below. If you have any questions, folks, you can always hit us up at orders@hbgaming.com.au. Please, as I mentioned before about the Patreon, you want to see this early access to all of our content and goodies, you can hit up the Patreon page that is on your screen, patreon.com/hbgamingau. And of course, you can always jump on board the website and shop for awesome gaming loot at hbgaming.com.au. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can get in touch whenever we post new stuff, and check back for more reviews, content, unboxings, and great stuff in the not too distant future. Thank you very much for getting this far. Hope you enjoyed episode 1 of season 2 of Got Your Backer. I know things are a little bit different, but it's all for the better. More content, more fun, more games to talk about. Make sure you get back to the table. If you are in other parts of the world and you're watching this, please stay safe, look after each other, both mentally and physically. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. And for now on, folks, though, make sure you get back to the table, play more games. And until then, it is, of course, bye for now.